If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Well, I really enjoy this program today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
May God bless every person.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. 949-8037 is the number we want you to share with your friends and keep close to hand, and join us as we return, get a chance to talk to our good friends from the Cayman Civil Service Association, and especially for those of you on the BRAC. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Flow.
Cayman's #1 network that connects you to your world like never before.
Let your voice be heard. Once again, here's your host, Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thanks for joining us. And as we extend a very warm talk today, welcome to the Secretary of the Cayman Civil Service Association, Ms. Zita Maybon, and on behalf of President John, she brings greetings, right? Ms. Zita May, good afternoon to you, Mom.
Good afternoon, everybody, and it's good to be on Radio Cayman.
Well, it's always a pleasure for us to welcome our guests. And I think as we look at our community and we look at all of the, I thought, about not just the charitable, but the sort of the communal approach and efforts, and when the Civil Service Association steps up and does its programming, sometimes it extends beyond the civil service and its membership. So share with us now, and when we include the BRAC, even better.
Yes, good afternoon. Yes, last week we had a very, very productive week. It was successful. We handed out some over 2,000 school bags here in Grand Cayman, and so that was from Monday to Friday, from 1 till 6 every day. And then on Saturday, our members over in Cayman BRAC get the opportunity to come and collect their bags. And that is from 9 till 1. We encourage you to come early because, when you come down to the last, then you're going to get what is last. So if you want good choices, come early. And it's going to be up on the bluff up at the Ashton Redis Center. And it's their medical wing. So we will be, we'll have members from our management council leaving Grand Cayman to go over there to assist the members in the BRAC.
So this Saturday?
This Saturday,
9 until 1.
August 11th. From 9 till 1. Like I said, come early so you can get your choice of bags. And we just look forward to having the BRAC members come out and do their collection. Well,
I hope so. And hopefully it would, I would imagine that, given how the Civil Service Association has been so instrumental in reaching out to the wider civil service families, that more and more of us would see the value and being a part of the association. So hopefully there are those. This is a time to join up as well.
That you're quite right. This gives the people an opportunity to see exactly, what the Civil Service Association is about. Not only with giving out the school bags, but the amount of stuff that we do, the different things that we do throughout the year. I mean, and for $5 a month. For regular members, people who are working, and then it's $12 for a year for retired civil servants. So, it's affordable, and you get so much for your money.
When we look at, and I was just having a conversation earlier with someone, they're working on a particular project. I don't want to call it a dissertation, but of sorts, and it's sort of relating to human resources and the like, and they're talking about organized labor and organized behavior. And I said, well, if you look at associations, professional associations, even trade associations, depending on the market that you're in, you may even see politically formed organizations to achieve a particular objective or the like. But something that I think he missed initially, at least that's how he shared it with me, is that we see that within some entities, the inability for companies or employees to organize, to be able to lobby, to represent, but just getting together to share knowledge, to be able to serve as a sounding board. And whether it's public or private sector, there are tremendous benefits to the individual, to the organization, but equally, sometimes more importantly, to the wider community.
That's correct. And I'll just switch my other hat because I work with General Registry, and to say, that if you have such an organization, you solicit any funds for donations or anything, please come in and register as a non-profit organization. The time is right for you now to come in and register as an NPO.
You know what? Thanks for reminding us, because Mr. Wilbur has been on with us together with Ms. Dennis over the last year and a bit. I think doing a phenomenal job at trying to not just encourage but educate and inform the wider public, offering themselves to going into different organizations, to having events after work, whether at the government admin building or other ways, to educate people, to assist them.
Yes, a lot of work went into that, and it's still ongoing. So if people are thinking about forming, or that they on a regular basis do solicit funds, then I would say be legit. Come in and be registered as a nonprofit organization. You don't want to get caught outside of those bounds.
Exactly.
So it's back to CISCA.
Back to CISCA.
Back to CISCA. And like I said, for the membership, it is very easy. We'll have forms there so that people can sign up to be members. And it's only $5 a month, and it's automatically deducted from your salary. So it's easy. And also, if you're a retired civil servant, you can also register for only pay upfront $12. So you register and pay $12, and you're a member of the association, keeping your ties with the civil service.
I think too, and as I was speaking to the fellow, thinking of our discussion in relation to the Civil Service Association, sometimes new employees, sometimes retiring employees, sometimes even you're there and you don't even appreciate the changes that are unfolding within your workplace, the legislation. Take changes in pension, for instance, the entitlements, the benefits, maybe other things that are happening. How many of us spend the time, have the time, realize it, or even with greatest of respect, even when we look at this thing, we know it's happening, we read it, but we're not quite sure. Does it mean this? Could it be this? By being a part of the association, you get a chance to reach out to other members who maybe specifically have been tasked with, go find this thing out for us and report back so that we are knowledgeable. A benefit in itself that is almost priceless.
Yes, because for our members, remember we have your email address, and we, try to keep our members updated when there is anything going on, and we meet regularly with POCS. And, we try to do our best to enhance the lives of our civil servants, and especially our CISCA members, because that's what our association is for, is to make sure that nobody is put at a disadvantage, but that we are enhancing the lives of others.
Something that you've shared together with President John, and even past President Watt over the years, some of us as civil servants may automatically assume, and this is just again recently, we're civil servants. We see deductions. You think, well, you're civil servants, so you're a member of the association. I know this fellow said he was employed for a couple of years when he realized, well, I'm not a member, thinking that he was. I know this guy is probably near retirement. But
yeah, well, a lot of people are like that because they get it confused sometimes with the credit union.
Yes.
Because the credit union belongs to the Civil Service Association. So that's why you see CISCA Credit Union. And because they become a member and, putting in their money and into their shares, and they get their dividends at the end of the year, they feel that they are a member of the association. But it's one entity, but two different.
But very separate and distinct, right?
Distinct. So to be a member of the association, it is $5 per month. So if you look on your pay slip and you don't see a $5 deduction, and then for the bi-weekly people, it is $2.50 bi-weekly that it is a deduction. But once we see Siska and the $2.50, or we see the $5, we know that they're members. So if you look on your pay slip and you don't see any of that, then you're not a member. And I would advise you to come in and register and be a member of the association and benefit from all that we have to offer.
Well, it's not too late to join, for this month and benefit equally for, going forward from now. But for those in the BRAC specifically,
BRAC is this Saturday, the 11th of August, and it's from 9 till 1, and it's up on the bluff at the Ashton Rudder Center, and it's in the medical wing. And like I would tell everybody, get there early, so you can have your choice of the bags.
Well, I had a sneak peek at some of the things that I'm told that are in the bags. So there's school bags, good school bags, for all the school-age children, and books and socks and pens, pencils, rulers, calculators, and all sorts of things that parents will have to buy. The students themselves will use. Dictionaries are included in some cases. I mean, different things. I don't know what that's all about.
We cater to the different age groups. Whether you are a preschooler. We do have the little bags for preschoolers. Then we have primary school, and then we got like middle to high. High school, and then some of the bags are packed that can serve if you're a college student. It does have, dictionaries and protractors and all those things also in the bags for the high schoolers. Yeah. So I would say that the bags themselves would cover what you would spend for the year as being a member.
I would tell you probably so very easily.
So every other thing. Plus, the discount card. And so for those who sign up, we will give them a discount card for everything put together. And that's it's a no-brainer.
Yeah, and as you shared, the idea that in the bags, as you cater to different age groups of the students, the bags themselves, but the different things that may be in the bags, from as you say, the protractors, the pens, the pencils, the socks, the dictionary,
the composition books, the dictionaries, the pens, pencils, sharpeners, rulers. Everything that is in the bags. I mean, parents would have to go out and purchase.
Right.
So we decided to try to give them at least a head start. There may be other things that their school might require them to purchase. But at least they have a head start.
And these are the things that they don't have to purchase at that point anyway. Right?
Exactly.
2 composition books. Well, those are 2 composition books that you have right then and there, and 2 less that you have to buy. So I'm hopeful that something that you'll be able to continue as an association. We as members will be able to continue to contribute, not only because we see the benefit, but collectively we'll see how. What is it to say? Many hands can indeed make light work.
Yeah. And I want to say thank you to all the civil servants, SISCA members, who find themselves in a place where they didn't need the bags themselves. Either they didn't have children, or their children are now grown, or they are in a financial situation where they didn't need the bags, but they gave them to other civil servants who had 3-4 children. Each member is entitled to 2 bags, and some of them came and just collected one and said, okay, you can give my second one to a needy family. And that was so good when parents came in and they brought their children with them. And you tell them, okay, you're entitled to 2. And then they say, but I have 4. And then you look on your list and said, okay, this one stated that we could have their bag, and they're not collecting a bag or whatever. And you say, okay, here you go. And 4 children could walk off with their bags from other members. So I want to thank those members wholeheartedly for, giving up their bags. And
thank you for sharing that, because I think, and if people listen and say, oh, you're a civil servant, so therefore you're championing them. Yeah, I'm very proud. And these are the things that those of us who, either because we work within the civil service, we're married to civil servants, we engage in projects, whether through service club or a PTA or a church, or with civil servants. Not saying that this isn't the same with other organizations, by any means. But, you know it because you know it. civil servants are unselfish. Right? They're so willingly kind, generous, and they do it without any sort of recognition or expectation of reward. Really have to commend, people like yourself. Huh?
Yeah, I mean, I'm involved in a lot of different associations, and I must say, that people are genuinely kind-hearted, and the civil service members have really, really displayed that during the course of the week when they, called in and said, "Listen, me and my wife both are civil servants, but we don't need it. Our children are now grown. Please, give my bags out to a needy family." And so when our civil service association members came to us and needed an extra bag, we were so happy to give that, because when you got 4 children that you have to buy supplies for to start off school, it can get expensive.
3-4 children is a blessing, but 3-4 children can be a bit pricey, right?
Yeah, it's an expense. But
thank you very much, Ms. Idome, to you, to the civil, especially to you, for coming on today. And
you're welcome.
Those, as you shared, who are on the BRAC as Cisco members, those prospective members, this Saturday, 9 to 1.
9 to 1.
But
come early so you can get your bags. And if you're not a member, come and sign up to be a member, so you can get a discount card, and you can rest assured that you would be benefited by being there.
So much so. Hey, thank you very much, Mom. And we'll remind all of our members on the BRAC, but this Saturday is just another way to show the appreciation, to benefit from that sort of collective effort.
Thank you very much for having us at least
pleasure.
once a month here at Radio Cayman to talk about the Civil Service Association. And God bless you all.
Amen. Amen. We're going to pause and take a break. We'll have some open line, I think. 1 o'clock, though. We've got a chance to talk to you about a domestic violence intervention program. But that's 1 o'clock. Between now and then, you want to know what's going to happen? Well, return right after this break.
Watch out for great mobile value and exciting free gifts from Flow this summer. The Samsung Galaxy A8 is yours for as low as $43.25 a month, and you can enjoy 25 gigabytes of data, 2,000 texts, and minutes on a Flow postpaid mobile value plan. Sign up and have even more fun with free summer gifts from Flow, like air travel vouchers, movie tickets, sound systems, and more. Share your summer experiences with Flow. Visit discoverflow.ky for more. Terms and conditions apply. Watch out, summer. Flow postpaid
nursing,
mobile
education,
plans are
social
sizzling.
work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
King Sports Center takes pride in being more than just an ordinary gymnasium. For 14 years, their multi-purpose facility has been providing the community with a variety of sporting, recreational, and relaxation activities. King Sports Center has a bowling alley, lounge bar, multi-purpose rooms, powerhouse gym, rock climbing wall, bungee jumping, a 10,000 square foot rink, and so much more. For more information on the variety of services, call their friendly staff today at 946-5464 or email kings@candw.ky or visit www.kingsportscenter.com. King Sports Center, your one-stop shop for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
Advance Automotive is celebrating 10 years as Cayman's authorized Chevrolet dealer and is giving away $10,000 to one lucky customer to celebrate. Buy any new Chevrolet from Advance Automotive and you'll be entered to win $10,000 cash. Entries close 1st of December or after 100 cars sold, whichever comes first. Buy your new dream car and enter to win $10,000 cash for Advance Automotive's 10th birthday. Visit the showroom on Owen Roberts Drive or visit AdvanceChevrolet.com for more details today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And thank you for joining us as we invite you to be a part of our discussion. Offer you up a couple of options to call and share your thoughts your opinions or comments. It may just be a question, and you may decide, it's time to be very critical about something. Whatever that thing is, hey, if we can receive it constructively, even if it's not the intent, maybe we can benefit from it. The main thing is that we should never be bullied, never be cajoled, never be threatened, intimidated, victimized for saying what we say, and to be afraid to say what we say. So hopefully, together we can do this. All right? 949-8037. Mr. Lynn?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling. How are you?
All right, let me hear you up better. Hold on. Go after this, sir. Talk to me.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Sterling. All is well?
All is well.
All right, can you hear me? No, okay. Well, one of the things I was looking on social media yesterday, and a lot of people have been complaining about the high bill of electricity.
You must have been looking at my notes, man. No, you weren't.
I don't know if it's because it's summer, kids are out of school, and it's more hot. I don't know what it is, but a lot of people, they took to Facebook and basically voiced their opinions, and they wanted to find out what's going on. Can anything be done?
Well, I hope that's not a rhetorical question. At least people listening don't take it as such. I'm glad you referenced that. I mean, I said, looking at my notes yesterday and today in particular, probably even since we had Mr. Rankin on yesterday, or Monday, on Monday's show, he had referenced that. Likewise, of all the things, that I've had to sort of either respond to or acknowledge from the calls, that is the one thing that's top of this. The other one is this ongoing, one person said discussion, another one said debacle in relation to the governors, coming and going, staying, whichever in the Constitution. Right. But the fact that the cost of living and the utility bills. Now, I have not, with the greatest respect, reached out to CUC in any formal or informal capacity. Just been trying to listen to people. And as of, we speak right now, not one single person has said, listen, their bill only increased slightly. Almost every single one has said it's either double or almost double.
Right.
And not just from last month billing to this month's billing, but from last year this time so to this time so. One individual shared that, she said, in the summer, yes, it's hotter. Yes, rates have increased, but they're not home as much.
Right.
They're out doing activities. I can only tell you what I say. I sell it to you the way I got it. They leave home. They adjust the AC up to a certain temperature. Nobody's home. The dog and the cat isn't inside. Nobody's opening the fridge. Lights are not on. And if they're gone for a fair bit of the day, and probably more so because it's summer, why is it that because it's summer the bill has to go up? Now, one individual said that, I'm not sure what's going to happen to him this year, but every year to date, absent for the most of the summer, certainly for, most of one billing period and part of it the other, and yet the bill increases when, again, there is less consumption in relation to the AC being on or off, lights being on or off, and yet the bill still is high. So you're not only handsome, but you're intelligent. Just speculate. Why is that?
Well, I'm not sure. I don't know if it's directly driven by fuel prices or, the heat consumption. Like it's a lot hotter during the summer, so I don't know if it requires more heat to cool things down, or maybe it is all adjusted about with their expenses,
right?
And they passing it on to us. I don't know.
I don't wish to speak out of school. So a fellow who I think we would all accept because of his position, his credentials, and the like, would at the very least be acknowledged of being intelligent, being objective, being relatively level-headed, and all these good things. So he says, he's in the same boat. So he tries to speak to people in government. Now, whether it's that politician, senior civil servant, the people who at the the regulatory body. I didn't ask, he didn't say. But the inference being that these are people that should be in a position to at least influence or affect certain outcomes. And maybe the best way to describe the response is, they just shrug their shoulders and say, well, that's just the way it is, like it or lump it. Then he says, well, he's gone to to CUC and tried to have informal discussions with some of the people who are presumably friends, neighbors, maybe even family, and say, okay, what is the issue? Now, he found two things. One, a lot of us have shares in CUC, and so we like the dividends, we like the excellent, seemingly, financial management and the returns and the like. But then on the corresponding side, if our utility bills are always going up, irrespective of any attempt to try to install more energy efficient appliances, lighting to reduce our consumption, but we're not seemingly able to make any significant impact in decreasing our electric bills, then there's an issue. And he's to the point where he's saying those who can afford it may feel the pinch, but what will it do for those who are struggling? He said to me, and I guess this is one of the parts I'm hopeful doesn't I guess will come across as being out of school. He gave a scenario. He didn't get into any great details, but it was probably sufficient to maybe strike home to some. Because of last month and this month's increase, a particular individual or family has experienced a significant increase in their electric bill. They're already on a limited income, and now that the bill has doubled, this person has indicated that this family or individual is looking at a situation, well, how do we now live this month? Forget about getting the children into activities or traveling or whichever, but you're no longer paying $100 or you're paying $200, or no longer paying $300, you're paying $600 for seemingly no noticeable significant increase in your consumption. What do we do, sir?
We go to the phone lines.
Go to the phones, but you're going to listen in and join us, right? All right. Hey, good afternoon. Thank you for being part of Talk today.
Hello, good afternoon, Sterling. I'm not 100% sure the name of your guest, but good afternoon.
Okay, I can do two things. I can tell you that the guest's real name, or I can pretend to tell you that we flew him in from overseas somewhere, so he's a hired consultant.
That'll do.
That'll do? All right.
Well, if he's a hired consultant, that means he overpaid. Especially if our government paying him.
Yeah, man, yeah. There you go.
I just tuned in. I was listening to obviously the CUC and the bills and this time of year and all that. I think it's important that I share certain information to give the general public a better understanding as to why and how and the reason behind all of these spikes in their bills and all that. And I can only tell you based off experience because it happened to me, you see, a couple years ago in 2011. And because at that particular time, I decided to go into CUC and I demanded for them to prove to me how my light bill could triple, because it is physically impossible, technically impossible. It was impossible for a house that had been running for 7 years to burn an average of X amount for those 7 years, and then all of a sudden in 1 year, I burn in 3 times the amount. I would either had to add on 3 houses or 2 extra houses of the same size of magnitude, or I would have had to increase my appliances and all of my usage by 3 times, which I didn't do. And sure enough, when we did an independent study on the meter, we found out the meter was faulty. And I can guarantee you that my meter wasn't the only meter that was faulty, because the day that I went there to make that complaint, there was at least 100 people in that lobby at the CUC office with the same complaint. So now I don't know what everybody individual issue was, because I didn't stop to ask for anything. I just assumed that they were there for the same reasons I were. Anyway, the bottom line is, and I just want to break it down from a technical standpoint, because the utility company will never come on your radio station and clarify anything, simply because there is no formula for them to tell you what diesel you burn per household, Sterling. There is no formula. They have 17 generators that are burning at a certain RPM in order to maintain the high voltage wire current that runs throughout this island. If they don't maintain that voltage going throughout the island, they would be in breach of their contract to provide electricity throughout the island. And that if we were to take half the people off the grid today, right now, if we were to take half of the island off the grid, the RPMs on those generators will not come down in any great significance to reduce the cost of fuel by any great significance. The problem that will arise then is that they will no longer have the entire consumer base to distribute that fuel consumption to. They have to now they then have to distribute that consumption to those who remains on the grid, which will be an increase because their fuel consumption is not going to drop according to the amount of people who came off the grid because they have to maintain. It's like having a generator in your backyard, and every time you plug a device in, you hear the generator RPM goes up. Now, if you plug in 100 lights and the RPM is at 10,000 RPM, and I'm speaking hypothetically,
right?
And if you at 10,000 RPM and you burn in a half a gallon per hour, and you got 10 lights, and you unplug 3 lights, the RPM don't drop to the point where you're going to see any difference in the consumption. Those 7 lights are going to still burn the same half a gallon in that 1 hour, but you have 3 less people responsible for paying for it. So now you have to distribute that amount of money over 7 people as opposed to 10, which would reduce it. So the more people that paying, the less it is for you. The less people that paying, the more it is for you. But their obligation is to maintain a certain level of electricity under their contract. So they have a high power line, which is a top line on every light pole. That's the high powered one. That line then distributes to a transformer. The transformer then distributes to each business around it. That's how it works. So they have to have a certain maintenance of voltage going through those high powered lines in order to properly distribute through that transformer for each individual consumer. That's how it works. Now, let me explain one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
Your house is not burning any more electricity than it do in the winter and it do in the summer. The difference is that in the summer, presumably, we burn our ACs longer because it's hotter, or that the kids are home from school and they're home using the TVs and in the fridge, and
right.
they're washing extra clothes because they're home in the days. Yes, there is an increase during the summer in consumption. No one can deny that. It's not in the
Okay, sorry, sir. We're losing you there. It's I guess echoing. We want you to be able to repeat that because I think that's a point we want others to hear. Are you still there, sir? Okay, still losing you. Let's. This caller has always made very, very insightful input, especially when it comes to energy and utility regulation. Sorry.
Hello?
Yes, sir.
You can hear me now?
Is that better, you think, Mr. Lynn? Yeah. All right, you there?
Yeah, can we have a call back?
Okay, yeah. We're going to initiate a call to you. Don't go anywhere. Pause and take the break. Caller, we're going to call you back if you can hear us. Maybe it's the connection. Maybe it's the gremlins in the system. Hey, who knows? Maybe it's intelligence services saying, we can't have him saying what he's saying on the air. Let's reconnect to that caller. Stay tuned, please.
Hey, are those new glasses on Will?
Yeah, we went to Optical Outlook. Wham, bam, easy exam. Finally, an exam he could pass. And we have the glasses the next day. Easiest part of our back-to-school shopping for sure.
Book your child's exam today at Optical Outlook. Call 746-2020. Save 50% off a complete pair of glasses with any student eye exam. From now until August 31st. Come see the difference with Optical Outlook. Located in the Caymanian Village. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
Not all insurance is created equal, but who has the time to shop around? Take the guesswork out of your insurance coverage with Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Let us match you with the best coverage to suit your needs at a price to suit your wallet. Plus, get superior customer service from dedicated claims professionals to ensure speedy claims processing. Get your insurance through Fidelity Insurance Brokers. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote. Fidelity, we're good for you.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Hi, this is Derry Dakers-Lee, chairperson for the Miss Cayman Islands Universe Committee. The committee is inviting you to our pageant on 11th August at the Westin. Dress code is formal. Join us for cocktails at 6 p.m. The pageant will start at 7 p.m. Tickets for adults and children can be purchased for $75 at Sand Angels and Funky Tangs. Come out and show your support for the 7 young ladies vying for the title of Miss Cayman Islands Universe. The winner will proudly represent us at the Miss Universe pageant in December. See you at the Westin on August 11th.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waging to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hello and welcome back to Talk Today. It is open line 949-8037. We hopefully be able to reconnect with that caller as well as join another one as well. So let my guys go to the boards and tell me where we're at. Good afternoon. You're on Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Sterling.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, okay, good afternoon. You're not reconnecting back with that caller.
I'm not.
No, this is a new caller.
No.
But I'll tell you, I'm going to be on the side of CUC, so I think this will be quite interesting.
Okay, and what we're hoping to do, since you're on that side, maybe we can reconnect with that caller and have him on the other side and see how we can have a nice back and forth. But you go right ahead, man. You got the floor right now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
During the summer, your consumption goes up. And I love numbers, so I write my numbers. I read my meter every 24 hours.
Excellent.
So in the cool months, December and January, I live in a 1,280 square footage house.
Okay.
My consumption is approximately 13 kilowatts for every 24 hours. That's in December and January.
Okay.
In the summer, with my AC running 24 hours at a setting of 80 degrees Celsius, my consumption is approximately 40 kilowatts for 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
What most customers have to understand, if you set your AC at 80 degrees Celsius as opposed to 75, and when I talk to most of my friends, they have their settings like at 75 because they want to feel very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the cooler you set your AC is the more consumption. One thing that customers can do is to learn to read the meter. It's very simple. It's just 2 numbers that you're working with and you're subtracting. So what they could do, for example, is to read the meter like every morning.
Mm-hmm.
What they could probably try and do, turn off the AC one night and see the big difference in the consumption.
Okay.
The AC burns approximately 75% of your electricity.
Okay. How do you arrive at that 75%?
Well, because as I'm telling you, during the cool months when I don't use my AC,
so you average it out looking at it.
13 kilowatts. 13 kilowatts. Without the AC, to cool my house, 1,280.
You're about 400. Yeah.
Is 13.
Right.
When in the summer, it's 40.
Okay.
All right. So if you do the math, it's approximately.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
And I'll tell you, if I were to allow my kids who love for the room to be extremely cool, to set the AC at 75 degrees, the consumption would even be more.
Right. Fair enough.
So the cooler you set in your AC, the more
it cycles through, the longer it's on, and
the bigger your light bill is going to be.
Okay.
And if customers are really serious, they could probably turn off the AC for a month and look at the light bill.
Okay.
Or learn to read the meter, read it in over a 24-hour period, bear the heat for one night, or bear it for 24 hours, and read the meter and see the big difference in the consumption.
All right. Well, I want you to stay online, join us, right? We're going to bring the other caller back in. But before we do, you said earlier that during the summers, the consumption increase. And the explanation is that we're home more, the children are there, and so on. But how do we account for those individuals who say, listen, during the summers, we're absent from our places. Nobody's there. The air conditioning is off. Minimum consumption. Maybe the refrigerator is still on. Maybe there are some low voltage LED, some other sort of lighting that minimum, presumably. But yet, the electric bill, and this is what people have alleged, is either the same or higher. If it is less, it's only marginally less. How do we account for those instances when people make those allegations?
Okay, the first thing I would ask is, are they leaving the AC on? Because I know a great majority of my friends, when they go away, they leave the AC on.
Okay, but in the absence of that,
question, if the AC is off, then something is terribly wrong.
Okay, so in those cases where people say, they'll let's just say that they'll down swear you, swear an affidavit, whatever, they say, listen, we were away for the summer. Here's the immigration stamp saying when we left, when we came back. Only go on the premise that they're being honest, all right? Let's just go on the premise that they're being honest. They say, listen, we are away. We left this date. We didn't return to this date. This is the billing period, so we are absent from this time. During that time, the AC was off. Nobody went into the house. Let's just assume that they're being absolutely honest. And the way I say that is that since I've been hosting this show, and only in that period, every summer, so many people have made that allegation that even if there's only one that is being honest, something must be wrong, as you said. So how do we account for that?
My suggestion is that you could use your cell phone and take a photograph of it. Hopefully it has a timestamp to prove that this is your reading when you were leaving, and when you get back, you take another photograph again.
Okay, all right. Listen,
but we would get a lot of answers if people simply learn how to read their meter.
Okay, don't go away. Stay on the line. Let us bring in the caller previously. Just because of technical issues, we were not able to continue. So you stay on the line. You'll be able to talk. He'll be able to talk. Together we'll talk, and we'll have some fun. Sorry, you're there, able to join us back?
Hello?
Yes, sir. You are online, and if you're not sure, we have another caller, and then the show.
I was listening, and I just want to make a few points for the gentleman who expressed, and I totally agree with everything he said, and that is if you don't have a faulty meter.
Right. Okay.
Because number one, and he has to understand one thing too, is that not every single air condition consumes the same amount of electricity. Different brands have different loads, different houses, and it all due to proper installation and all sorts of things is what determines what your consumption when your AC is on. And he's 100% incorrect when he says that your light bill is, your air condition burns 25% of your light bill. That's not correct.
75,
you said.
And that's even worse. So what I'm trying to explain to you and the general public is this. Number one, is that in spite of all your efforts that you make to reduce your consumption with your LED bulbs and all the things that is recommended by an energy saver, the reality is this, is that if you have a faulty meter, you have a faulty meter. And that meter, regardless of what efforts you do, is going to read falsely. And it's going to have a fictitious amount of consumption, which you are billed for, because the electricity company solely relies on what the meter tells them in order to charge you. And then they do their calculation on consumption base, because it's like the street lights in Cayman. Let me give you an example so you understand better. Every street light in the Cayman Islands is billed to the government based on kilowatts, on what the wattage of that bulb is. So if that bulb is burning X amount of kilowatts, they times that by the amount of bulbs that the island have, and that's the bill that they get. Which means that if there are 100 lights off, if there are 100 lights that are not operating, the government is still being billed for the assumed consumption of those 100 lights.
The potential what they would be if they were burning.
That's right.
Okay.
So there's no exact formula. So all I am saying is that people have to be aware and have to be vigilant. Yes, I agree with the caller, with you, sir, that you should monitor your meter, and that way, if they do like what you do, they will realize that if there is a fault with their meter, they will see the spikes when they're not home, and then they'll have a legitimate reason to go in and file a complaint to say, I want to have a monitor on my meter when I'm not at home, so that we can see what the activity is, which I did. I can show you documents right now that I got CUC to sign agreeing to give me back what they overcharged me for. And it was because if I didn't go in and try to investigate what was happening with my meter, they would have never stopped charging me 3 times the amount, because it's not in their business model to reduce their profits by the end of the year. That's not their business model. And I'm not here banging on CUC. I'm here just laying the facts out as they are.
Okay.
The government has their duty to do, and CUC has a corporate responsibility as well. And the reality is that I don't care how much you monitor your meter. I don't care how many efforts you make to reduce your consumption. If you have a faulty meter, you have a faulty meter.
Right.
And these new smart meters, if you go online, you can do all the research is there. You can go and research, and you can see where they have had major issues with these smart meters reading the wrong things based on certain times of the day.
Right.
My meter in particular, I can speak of because it happened to me. I can share it with the public. At 2:45 every day, my meter would spin over 100,000 revolutions and then stop. And nobody's home. And that's when we found out something was wrong with the meter. And it was doing it for a whole year. And nobody at CUC, there was nobody that narrated or monitored to say, okay, here's a customer that normally spends $500 a month, but all of a sudden, this month he's spending $1,497. There has to be a problem. Let's notify the customer, or let us monitor this thing on our own, because it's our responsibility to ensure that our consumers get the best quality or get the best price possible based on their consumption.
Right.
But it went on for a whole year. I had to be the one to go in there and make them lodge a complaint in order for...
Gents, sorry, I'm happy to engage and continue the discussion if you guys are, amenable. But we have the news. Do you want to continue after the news, or do you have
it's unfortunate, Sterling. I have to go now.
No, that's fine.
I will call back in a little while. I mean,
that's fine.
People to understand what it is. Nobody bill in the Cayman Islands should ever double during the summertime for no reason at all. There has to be a problem. Technically, it's not the consumption of the customer.
Okay. And then, sir, are there other points that you want to make and you want to hang on, or do you want to rejoin us later? Okay.
Sorry.
Yes, sir.
You need to take my number and call back.
Okay. What you do, don't hang up. We'll take your number and we'll call you back. Okay. Appreciate us. Continue that discussion. Anybody else want to join us? But I got to go to the news. Sometimes there are just things I got to do. Stay tuned for Talk Today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. Headline. These are the biggest stories right now.
The amount of garbage reportedly managed at the landfill sees a significant spike in 2017. The Economics and Statistics Office's 2017 Compendium of Statistics shows that nearly 54% more trash was sent to the landfill last year than in 2016, bringing the total garbage at the dump to more than 158,000 tons. According to the figures, 452 tons of waste was incinerated or managed last year. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines. In news elsewhere, more women candidates than ever will contest U.S. governorships and House seats in November's midterm elections. After Tuesday's primaries across 4 states, there are now 11 female nominees for governor and at least 182 for the House of Representatives. The results were hailed as a continuing success story by activists for women in politics. Iran's foreign minister has said the United States will not be able to prevent the country from exporting oil. Mohammad Javad Zarif told the Iran newspaper that U.S. President Donald Trump's goal of forcing the rest of the world not to buy Iranian oil was impossible. He also mocked what he called Mr. Trump's tantrums and capped tweets. And China's Commerce Ministry has announced that it will start imposing 25% import duties, targeting $16 billion. That's £12.4 billion worth of U.S. goods. The Chinese countermove will take effect immediately after the U.S. imposes tariffs on the same amount of Chinese goods on August 23rd. The list of U.S. imports affected by the taxes includes coal, oil, chemicals, and some medical equipment. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
What's new this Wednesday?
Glad you mentioned that. Nothing new, innit?
We are back with more Proud of Them Cayman honors.
And I make my mommy proud, and I make my daddy proud, and I make my family proud, and I make this nation proud. We will be proud, we will be proud.
More Proud of Them Cayman honorees.
Tune in for the exclusive on their lives leading up to being awarded. Stick around for another fun-filled roundtable.
You heard that right. Roundtable is back.
Tune in this Wednesday from 4 to 5 on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
U-Flex, a program for all people by young people.
U-Flex, more than talk.
Our fridge has stopped working again. Everything in the freezer is melting. We need to get this repaired right away. I'm calling Brand Source Service.
When you need the very best appliance service, call Brand Source Service at 623-5000. Offering service and installation of all brands and models of appliances. Brand Source Service is Cayman's source for appliance parts and repairs with qualified and experienced technicians and the island's largest stock of appliance parts. Brand Source Service will have your repair completed in a flash. So, whatever the problem is, call the experts at 623-5000. Brand Source Service, Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park. Telephone 623-5000.
For 50 years, Cayman Airways has been connecting the Cayman Islands to the world, welcoming visitors to our shores and taking residents to exciting destinations. Whether for well-earned vacations, productive business trips, or simply reconnecting with friends and family, Cayman Airways has been honored to be part of your lives for 50 years. Cayman Airways airfares are now on sale for some destinations for travel in the fall. Sale ends August 11th. Call 949-2311, contact a travel agent, or visit CaymanAirways.com.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
Money Sense, bringing an informed financial perspective to the Cayman community. Brought to you by the CFA Society Cayman Islands and sponsored by One Trade X. Tune into Money Sense this Thursday as we discuss love and money with tips for couples on how to improve communication around their finances. Learn best practices in managing money when in a relationship and how divorce rates are attributed to financial concerns. Money Sense, Thursday, 7:30 a.m. on Radio Cayman. Follow the conversation on Twitter at Money Sense Radio. Money Sense, the only personal finance radio show in the Cayman Islands. Brought to you with the support of One Trade X.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back. Thank you for joining us. And between now and 1:30, then we'll have some open line after that again. But what a wonderful time to have a chance to not only learn, continue to share and invite and involve our listening public, but to remind us that there's some wonderful things that will be unfolding within our communities. From the Family Resource Center, the program coordinator, Miss Charmaine Miller, joins us. Always a pleasure to welcome you guys in the studio, Miss Charmaine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I hope you're enjoying your summer.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been interactive, definitely. Now that my kids are older, like there's just a bunch of camps happening. So it's been pricey.
Yeah.
But fun.
Yeah, I had a friend the other day share with me that he said, his wife was looking for activities, and he thought, oh, she's doing that for the children, and he realized no, she was actually trying to find camps for him.
Oh wow.
So she added one more to her list of dependents.
Oh, that's awesome.
But I know you have a very taxing schedule as usual with so many
definitely.
other things on. So as we discussed with all the stuff that you have going on, some of the programs are good times over the summers for us.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, we've been focused right now on what the next part of the last part of the year is going to look like. And we have our domestic violence training intervention program that is coming up. The training originally was meant to be held in Cayman Brac. We did it last year and we had great turnout. We know that there's a need for this kind of intervention training. And so, however, what we've done is due to low attendance, we will be delivering the training here in Grand Cayman between the 29th, from the 29th of August to the 31st of August. So it's a 3-day, very intense training. And that's what I'm here to talk about today, the Domestic Violence Intervention Training Program.
Okay, so it's going to be here on Grand Cayman from the 29th
to the 31st.
Okay, so that's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday?
Yes.
Wednesday, okay.
That's what it is. And it's just to go in more depth about the training, we've been facilitating this training for over a decade already here in the Cayman Islands. We're very fortunate to collaborate with our partner agencies, because throughout the training, we have an opportunity to invite agencies that serve families, whether it is victims, perpetrators, and their children who are in, the environment, an abusive environment. And so these agencies such as social services, probation, the crisis center, they're all involved in delivering sort of like information on what their own respective agencies offer. So throughout the training, generally, this last time around in May, we had approximately 28 participants from various walks of life. So the training is targeted to frontline professionals. You don't necessarily have to be in the field of human and social services. It's really good to have a rich background, just a very diverse background, whether it is church members, HR managers, nurses, teachers, counselors, social workers, probation officers, all of those in one room, to talk about that one topic, which is domestic abuse, and how we can better respond and develop strategies and skills to ensure that our clients have a positive experience while still navigating through that difficult time of living and being a victim of domestic abuse.
If I'm asking, in case I missed it, because you were given a rather extensive list, I don't necessarily want to say exhaustive, but in that, coaches, people who are involved with some activity in sports.
That is awesome. Yeah, definitely. Having, individuals from various walks of life that at some point interface, whether it is with a child, whether it is with a female or a male that are experiencing domestic abuse, we encourage you to participate. We've had, private entities like members from karate clubs or whatnot, that are in that coaching capacity and do sometimes interface with children at that level and need additional support and guidance as to how to address those situations. So definitely a wide scope of clients. And it's really interesting because typically when we facilitate this training, what tends to happen is agencies reach out to us and say, well, can you guys offer the same training to this organization and only to this organization? And we're like, well, we're a bit skeptical on how effective that would be, because to have members of different agencies in one room, in one capacity, talking about the same topic really creates for some rich discussions, and it allows us to challenge some of our own personal biases within the workplace or even personally. So we definitely encourage it to be a community-based training.
As much as I hear, I was just thinking as you shared that, just generally speaking, let's say organizations, let's say the Chamber of Commerce, the Cayman Ministers Association, a large sporting
police
association
officers,
or police,
definitely,
where they bring their contingent. You're talking potentially thousands, certainly hundreds of people. If that organization, through its border politic, were to bring their membership and have the training delivered to their members,
absolutely,
even the PTAs collectively bringing together. That could be
definitely.
Well.
We're very fortunate to have the support of our CIPS and our police commissioner, who quarterly, because the training is delivered 3 times a year, endorses the training, and we have the largest number of police officers in the room, typically, along with just individuals from other backgrounds. So we can do, for lack of a better word, sort of like a spin-off, if it is an educational workshop on domestic violence, the dynamics of it, and how it plays itself out, that can be offered to like PTAs, as you had just suggested. That can definitely be offered, but this training is separate to those psychoeducational workshops.
So it's going to be this, you mentioned this year, here in Grand Cayman. It's going to be from the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, so the 29th through the 30th, 31st. Right?
The 29th to the 31st of August.
All day long?
All day long. It is a day training from 9 to 5 p.m. The training was actually condensed because originally my understanding it was 5 days, right? Very heavy topic. The trainers themselves, I'm very proud to be a part of the team because they are so passionate, and yearly they are trying to come up with ways in which we can stay current. Domestic abuse is a topic topic that generally people have an understanding of it, but staying current with research, not just international, but also within our culture, within the Caribbean, and coming up with ways in which the training can be interactive, because it's very loaded in terms of just what abuse is, how to respond, how children experience it, how victims experience it, why it happens, why is there a cycle of it when it comes to perpetrators, children growing up sometimes to become perpetrators themselves or victims. And so we explore all that within 3 days, and definitely coming up with best responses as professionals to address domestic violence.
And sometimes too, I think just from conversations and public education awareness and the like, we realize that people, I don't even want to say on the periphery because that may seem dismissive. It's not my intent.
Sure.
That person isn't directly in the household or directly, the perpetrator or the abuse victim or the like, but they're affected by it.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think, with the new children's law in place, there's something that speaks to within the law. If children are witnessing abuse, they're victims themselves of it, right? Whether it is direct or indirectly, they are still victims, and that's why it's our responsibility to safeguard our children and to make reports when necessary.
Yeah. And we probably don't. We probably don't know why this person or even these people, maybe they're co-workers, maybe they're neighbors, let's say children, maybe they're classmates, and they're being affected, they're behaving or being impacted by a certain way. And we're either insensitive or just unaware. Sometimes training like this gives us an insight into what's happening.
It's all about education. It's really funny when we do the training. Some of my takeaways are generally because the island is so small and it's so culturally diverse. That's very reflective of those that are in the room, right? So along with that, one of the first exercises that we do is developing a working definition of what abuse is. And so everyone has their own definition of it, but throughout the training, the definition is meant to be in line with the law, with what our law states about what abuse is, the different types of it and whatnot. And so that's always an aha moment. And when we talk about, the one word that's constantly left out when we do that exercise is that it is a crime. That domestic violence is a crime. And so everyone, sometimes prior to the training don't see it in that way, just because of the various backgrounds that they come from, countries or whatnot. And so it's definitely throughout the training, there are so many aha moments, and we often, we operate from an outcome-informed perspective, and so the evaluations that we get back from our participants are very positive and richful and help us to enhance our training further.
A number of years ago, and I didn't want to say it was even back then I had even more hair. It was that long ago. I recall someone all of a sudden recognizing that, abuse actually extends to things people say.
Absolutely.
Yet the person wasn't physically, sort of attacked or assaulted or what have you, but that word, even if the word wasn't, said loudly or what have you. And I distinctly remember this individual's sort of, I guess, use your phrase, aha moment. That, whoa, that is abuse.
Definitely.
Yeah, it is. And I think having that working definition and getting people to recognize that maybe what you thought before, it is a crime, but this thing is actually, violence, it's abuse.
Yeah. Knowledge is power, right? And we try to create an environment within the training, a non-judgmental and safe space, because we're coming from so many different backgrounds and different countries and whatnot, and we want to make sure that our participants are feeling safe when they're there within the training, comfortable enough to sometimes challenge somebody else within a respectful way, obviously, and assert themselves. And it's a lot of self-reflection opportunities also, just because sometimes our own childhood experiences get in the way of the way in which we may see things, and so it's a lot of education and creating moments that will make them really reflect.
I share with you in that context, and only because the fellow sort of reflected on it again. We're in the sporting sort of dynamic, and there are some coaches who genuinely mean well. Their way of maybe motivating the athlete is to getting and pushing and
being aggressive.
Yeah, and perhaps some would say, well, yeah, that's how it is, right?
That's how it is in sports, right? Yeah.
Right? And this thing transpires where the coach is trying to get this particular athlete to really, reach the full potential.
Sure.
Unaware that it's having the opposite effect. It may work that way for little Johnny, but not for little James.
Exactly.
Right? And what have you. And even that, sometimes we don't see that it's demoralizing, but it's more than that. It's not just demeaning and denigrating them. Like, it's actually abusive.
Exactly.
And not, as you said, not being knowledgeable about it. So in this training, for those who are out there, a couple of questions. I mean, certainly the list of people who could and should attend is quite extensive.
Right.
But what about age? I mean, is this for, people 25 and older? Is this for the mature 14, 16-year-old, 17-year-old? I'm just curious.
I mean, definitely we want to have participants that are over the age of 18, that are currently in college or taking post-high school classes and have an interest within this field. We definitely want to give them that opportunity, and we've had that. And the fact that we don't sort of discriminate in the sense that anybody can be a part of the training, whatever your age is, as long as you're a young adult. It also creates, again, for that rich discussion in which it's really interesting, because I had a group where it was a lot of millennials in the session, right? Joined with other more seasoned professionals, and it's just always
there such things as adult millennials, because I just think
adult. Oh my goodness, I'm a millennial.
I know. I should be
an older one.
I'm just
no. That's a hot topic nowadays. Oh my goodness.
I mean, it's actually mature. No,
yeah, I need to do more research on that, because it is a hot topic.
It is.
It really is. And millennials in the workplace, that's something that's coming up a lot. This is the second time in a radio interview it's come up.
Is it? Okay, sorry.
No, it's fine, because it's interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually having, in another vein, this is why I enjoyed chatting with you, right? And this is where I think knowledge and growth, being willing to challenge the status quo, be willing to challenge your own perceptions or misconceptions or preconceived notions or biases at times, right? And millennials in particular, that they're a fascinating group of people. Now, maybe I should ask you, because I may have the wrong definition. We're going to go back to the training and but this plays in, and bear with me. Right? Millennials now would be people who are in what
is it?
Yeah,
late mid 80s, born in mid 80s forward.
Yeah, to what, 2000s plus?
I think so.
Because after that, now there's another group of, I'm not quite sure what they are, but
yeah, I don't know either. But I just remember I was right on the brink of not being one.
Yeah, and the reason why is that their approach is fundamentally different in some respects.
Yeah,
the idea of how things should be, and I think that as a training like this, like so many others that the Family Resource Center helps to facilitate, gives us, either as older parents or grandparents or maybe whatever capacity, an understanding and an appreciation of the world in which they inhabit. Because they may walk side by side, they may shop in the same places, they may even eat, not eat the same foods, they're different. But there's a fundamental difference.
I mean, there is a difference, but I guess I say it in a very positive way, in that, they're just open to a whole new world of knowledge and taking that on and being very ambitious and eager to move forward. And, so that's where that challenge comes in sometimes. But within the training, it's always good to have those different ages, just because, we had a conversation around gender and how gender presents itself when it comes to domestic abuse, because oftentimes if we're stuck within the role of what women and men should be like, what that conversation took place within the training, and some participants who were within that millennial range were like, really, is that where we still are right now, where we're being told that girls should be playing with these kind of toys? No, I don't feel that way anyway. That wasn't my childhood. My childhood is more sort of liberal, right? I didn't feel that stuck, and so it was really interesting to see the difference in gender and how we've accelerated within, as a millennial, they don't see that gender issue as influential as it was, with other age generations. But it's definitely interesting.
And I think, because, and the reason why actually, just so that people understand, those individuals are born, let's say mid-80s, today, they are parents, right? Or they're in relationships. They may be in a relationship with another millennial, right? But sometimes may not be. And that approach to gender and roles and responsibilities and the like could create a conflict, right? And all of a sudden you have this situation that perhaps it's abusive, perhaps it's not there, but it's maybe the words that we use, toxic and the like. Not understanding that, how do we respond to it? Training like this gives us as a community the sensitization, gives us the information.
I mean, within the training we cover something that we call the power and control wheel, which is sort of like, all the elements or components that are in a domestic abuse relationship, right? And then there's the healthy relationship wheel that touches on that sense of equality, being able to communicate assertively and being respected, being able, to not be restricted by gender roles, which is what that power and control wheel would represent and include. So there are those differences, and we have that opportunity to educate our participants on that and also take on a more like self-reflective position where they themselves can look at themselves and see, is any of this within this checkbox, sort of like, do I play a role in this? Are my behaviors at times abusive? When do we draw the line between, playing around with our partners and actually overpowering their will and desire? So that's the kind of conversation that we have.
And I appreciate giving us an input and sort of insight into that, because I think many times we don't realize it. It could be because one earns more.
Right.
Maybe one is physically imposing. Maybe one partner or spouse or what have you has a particular disposition.
Right.
And I'm not trying to call people out or whichever, but some people will pout and, in order to get his way or her way or what have you. And those things can amount to abuse.
Definitely. Those are red flags. That's what we call as red flags.
See that? That's why you're the smart one here.
No, you're saying it all. I'm just quoting it in one thing.
Okay, there you see. You're
the smart one. But those are all things that you have to be on the lookout for when it comes to what a relationship should look like. And I think today sometimes what happens in relationships that I've found, we're speeding up. Everything is happening too fast, right? And you don't have that opportunity for courtship to actually meet someone and identify whether or not, give them the time that they deserve to identify likes, dislike, values, all these things that are important and make up who you are as a person, right? And share those with them so that then you can really truly recognize that, this is the person that I want to invest my life with and whatnot.
I think too, this is perhaps maybe on another occasion we can talk about it. The timeline, no longer is it that a person, and I hope this is inappropriate, but biologically speaking, we know for elephants it's a 13-month gestation. For humans, it's a little bit less, right? But even now, there are people. Our friend joked recently that, married last week, and now we have a 13-year-old. They by default kind of took in place someone, right? We went into the conversation to see how fast things have accelerated. People no longer have that courtship. And for some, that's old-fashioned. No, it isn't. It's being respectful.
Value to it.
You're giving yourself a chance to say, well, think of it. You go to an employer, there's a probation period. There's probably benefits to that for you
and
as
for
well
them.
Exactly. With this training, though, Ms. Charmaine, from that perspective, today is the 8th.
The 8th, yes.
It reminds me of a good friend of mine. His birthday is today. I think he should buy the next round of coffee. Happy birthday to you, my friend.
The next round of coffee.
Yeah, I think it's like 50 today, or is it 97? I'm not sure. Just kidding.
That's a difference.
I don't. No, I should be here because when I see him again, he might. He has the capacity. But for the program. How do we get rich? Because you're talking about 3 weeks hence before it starts, right?
Yes.
I mean, next 3 Wednesdays away.
Pretty much.
How does a prospective person, one, get information, and two, if they want to be a participant, How do they go about it?
Sure. So it's just a matter of calling FRC at 949-0006 or email us at frc@gov.ky. We do have some promotion on social media. So, I mean, we definitely encourage people to come out and register for the training. It is, guaranteed a very educational experience and one that you'll come out feeling more informed and knowledgeable. And as well, I think for me, when I initially did the training 10 years ago, networking was the most sort of like beneficial aspect of that training for me, right? The opportunity to know who represents each agency, to be in a room where, if at any point I'm doing crisis intervention with an FRC, I know that I can get in touch with Bill from RCIPS because we were in a training together for 3 days and we're operating off of hopefully the same sort of like premise, right? So it's that opportunity to get to know our community members and those that are frontline professionals that are helping our victims and perpetrators.
Is there a cost for the program?
The program is absolutely free. And it will be offered 3 weeks from now, the 29th to the 31st of August. And we run it 3 times a year. So if participants don't have an opportunity to join the August training, there's one coming up the last week of November also.
Okay. Asking people to be able to devote 3 full days.
3 full days.
For training. It's free to them. It's certainly, worthwhile. They can use it in many ways.
Definitely.
Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Thank you.
Ma.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Never feels like I'm actually working.
Hey. You know what? I think that's what, those people above me who decide whether I keep my job and get a raise or not, they probably think, he's having too much fun. There's no way he can be working as hard as...
No, it's about creating that safe and comfortable environment that we talked about with the training. That's important.
That's important. Is that what I'm doing here? Oh, thank you.
Exactly.
See that, validation, right? Hear that, Miss Norma? I take chocolate after this. Miss Charmaine Miller, to you and your entire team over at FRC and the Ministry of Extension. Thanks for, facilitating these, workshops, these programs for those who participate. I hope that this is appropriate. They give a lot of themselves. Some take vacation. Some of the employers glad to give up the time. These employees, these people have to, make up that time.
Absolutely.
So it's a significant investment, but it's a worthwhile endeavor. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Going to pause and we're going to take a break. Have some open line at 2:00. Our good friend from the RCIPS will come in for a few minutes. She's going to bring some mugshots. No, she's not going to do that. I'm just kidding. She's going to tell you about a recruitment drive. But between now and then, there's going to be some open lines. So join us after this break.
At Seaboard Marine, customers often ask us questions about their shipments.
Hi, I'm thinking of buying a car from the States. Which port do you ship out of?
Hi, we ship out of Miami, Houston, and Brooklyn. Just let us know your port of choice and we can provide you with a quotation and answer any questions you may have on insuring and protecting your vehicle during its journey.
Shipping shore to shore, Seaboard.
Nursing, education, social work, media studies, hospitality, electrical, plumbing, AC. Wow, I didn't even know that the University College of the Cayman Islands offered all that.
Yes, all that and more, as well as event management and QuickBooks. They also did customized training for our staff last month. Hey, didn't your son just graduate from high school? Take him so he can apply for the fall semester.
Pursue your academic and professional goals at UCCI. Admissions are ongoing. Classes start August 27th. Visit them or call 623-8224 to learn more.
Hi, this is your reigning queen, Miss Cayman Islands Universe 2017, Anika Connolly. Join me on Saturday, 11th of August at the Westin Resort and Spa to find out which one of the 7 beautiful contestants will take over my crown. I'm excited to announce that pageant tickets are now on sale at Sand Angels in Camana Bay and Funky Tangs in Georgetown.
Come out on August 11th at the Westin to support us for
the Miss Cayman Islands Universe pageant. There will be a cocktail reception at 6 p.m. and the show starts at 7 p.m. sharp. Lights, camera, glitz. We hope to see you there.
Place household garbage in large bags prior to its placement in a garbage container to avoid spillage during collection. A suitable garbage container must be made of sturdy materials that will allow it to withstand weathering. A tightly fitted cover is also necessary to keep out water and stray animals. Do your part. Keep your surroundings clean. Store household garbage in a suitable garbage container. For more tips on proper waste packaging, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness.
During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for allowing us, and as you heard this morning when Mr. Connor shared, as you hear him share often, thank you for allowing our program in Radio Cayman and by extension us, being a part of your day, your night, your life. We really are honored. We try hard to be respectful, be informative. We're going to be impartial and objective. But, we won't be here without you and our loyal listeners and contributors. So let's go to our phones. Good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Dwayne Dwayne number 1 New Kingston.
Good afternoon, sir. How are you today?
I'm feeling better than I did last Wednesday.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, man. I hope that tomorrow you feel even better than you did, when you were 18.
Yeah, I wish I could feel better when I was 16.
Yeah, well, man, I don't know. 16, that's kind of young.
Well, that's the best age.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Anyway, I'm not going to hold you up. I just want to say this. Yesterday morning around 10:30, we had one first-class chopper thunder, you see?
Yeah.
And, yes, and I mean, it shook the house.
I heard it, yeah.
Eh?
I heard it in a couple of districts had similar issues. People, it's interesting. I just got a comment on that too. But you go ahead. You can share with us.
Yeah, that they show you when the boss talk. No government stop that. What I want to say is this. I have a telephone set with a 3-piece that I can have piece in the kitchen, the bedroom, and the living room. So I don't have to run. I can't run if the phone rings.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't pay no mind. The only one has on the light is the main piece. The base channel, base one you call it then.
Okay.
It has on a red light in the middle. I didn't really pay it no mind. I never went to use it or anything until today. When I went to use it, I didn't see no light. And I see under the phone, no charging thing. Okay. What I want to say is this. I want to find out why it is this feeling lazy and work company won't put a number up here to the office Stakeway where you can call them to get someone to come here and check out what happened. See whether it's something wrong with the line outside or the phone burned up or what happened. I tried to call them down there today. I was told to press 6 different number buttons. I even lost track of it. Hey, come on, man. I got to do better than that, man.
I hear your frustration. I think there are many customers, not just locally, but that's where we'll focus, who feel whether they call in a bank or a utility, whether they call in a retail, other places, and sometimes even, civic organizations and governments and the like, there isn't a live, attentive human on the other end. They got to go through this series of, press 1 for this and press 97 for that. And it can become sometimes frustrating, as you shared, sir.
Yeah, but at least if they had the office job, so I could have went out there, I could have got somebody to come in.
Mm-hmm.
And upstate, they have the telephone number in the book, but don't call that. You're not getting no answer at the State Bay office in Cayman Brack. That is what I say government need to look into. Moses and Juliana, get the telephone line working up here so you can call the office. That's what I've been paid for.
As you shared, it's probably when the public, like you share now, are asking how can government policy and regulation and its oversight ensure that customers have recourse or have a fair, reasonable expectation that the private sector is going to do what they've been licensed to do in this case.
When they go get the license, tell them to make sure they sign that there will be a number here that people can call from here and get through to the place up here. I could have probably had something known before now, because right now I'm using my cell phone.
Well, I hope you get it resolved, man. I mean, but usually, sometimes people, it isn't that they're trying necessarily to be inattentive or they have any, just bad motive. It's just that sometimes people don't know, they're not, what's the word that they use these days, empowered to take initiative, because maybe in the past, instead of being complimented, they were, criticized and the like. So hopefully now someone hearing this will recognize that there's an issue and it needs to be addressed, and you'll get your resolution, if not, by the end of the day, hopefully by the end of the week.
Well, I have said it about 6 times already, long ago on the air.
Yes,
no, nothing has been done. One last thing before you go.
Yes, sir.
I hear Uncle Mac were planning for them to have a meeting up here, the House of Assembly, and it looked like some of them is up against it. Because I heard one say he don't see no reason why to have it here.
Right.
And I call in a name on your show because you mightn't like that.
Well, yes, sir.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
I don't see why they can't have the meeting up here. Come up here and spend some money up here too. Don't keep it all for Bordentown or West Bay.
Well,
come up here and do it.
It'll be good, as you said, to, when it's practical and possible, that, and certainly prudent to have, the Legislative Assembly or other agencies of government to meet across the country. But I leave it to those people who would know whether it's an opportune time to do so, and that it's in the interest of good governance, not necessarily to make it more difficult. But yeah, your point taken, sir.
The only good governance next we get here is when the mosquitoes start coming around on the flies. Anyway, I'll listen to you. Have a good day, sir.
You too, sir. You too.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Thank you too. It's open line. We invite you to call and share your thoughts with us. 949-8037 or 1-800-534-8255. We'll endeavor to read this next WhatsApp. So if you want to send your thoughts, you can record a voice note. If it's something that we can play, certainly we'll share it on air if that's your intent. Or you can type it and send us a regular message that way. It's 925-3261. This voice note reads, good afternoon. I just tuned in to your talk show and heard someone talking about CUC and electricity. Question: why can CUC place its high-powered line through some person's private land to connect electricity to an adjacent development without first consulting with that individual before or after the connection? Where is law and regulations regarding this? Is this considered good corporate principle where CUC is concerned? It says, what happens if injury or damage is caused as a result of that CUC's powered line? Now, some of you know the answer definitively. Some of you going, I wonder how. I don't want to add any food for thought, as it were, but I recall over the years a few people sharing, and you can help us to clarify now. Certainly not, I think, anybody's intent necessarily, as a caller earlier said, to beat up and to malign and somehow castigate, whether it's a corporate entity, but certainly no particular individual. We've heard, with respect to, say, utilities, there are those who have the perception that if a public utility, whether it's electric, water, or otherwise, wanted to move, in this case, a power line from, say, cross your property or install one of those light poles, that it could. It doesn't have, get any reason for you, or permission from you. But there are those who say, no, if you don't consent to it, they can't do that. Then there's some who say, well, legislation was passed and as part of the licensing agreement that their liability is limited. So, for instance, there's a power outage, and as a result, you say, well, your computer was working beforehand. Maybe you were working at your computer, and the power trips off or what have you, and all of a sudden your computer isn't working anymore. Maybe your fridge is now off, or maybe it's your TV, some electronic, gadget, gizmo, or otherwise is in your house, and because of the power outage, it was working and now isn't. And you conclude, well, it had to be that. We understand that, nope, liability doesn't extend. Now, is that the case? Is that just the way we understand it to be without being sure? If it is the case, is it fair? Why don't you weigh in and share with us your thoughts? Let's pause and take a quick break, though. When we come back, 949-8037, you can call and share your thoughts with us. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Congratulations, it's a boy.
During the greatest events of your life, whether or not you have the right health insurance coverage should be the last thing on your mind. That's why at Fidelity Health, we are committed to helping you get matched with the right plan to suit you and your family. We offer a range of plans to suit your budget, plus access to a network of quality care throughout the Caribbean and the USA. You can relax and enjoy life's greatest moments when you are covered with Fidelity Health. Call us today at 949-7822 for a free quote.
From happy beginnings to happy ever after,
Brit K protects your lifestyle with the best insurance cover at the best possible price.
Health insurance with far-reaching benefits.
95% of claims settled in 5 days.
Low-cost life insurance.
And investments.
Security in retirement.
With a custodian pension plan.
For happy beginnings and a happy ever after,
visit BritK.ky or call 949-8699.
Brit K, where people come first.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's new kitchen and bath center.
Place household garbage in large bags prior to its placement in a garbage container to avoid spillage during collection. A suitable garbage container must be made of sturdy materials that will allow it to withstand weathering. A tightly fitted cover is also necessary to keep out water and stray animals. Do your part. Keep your surroundings clean. Store household garbage in a suitable garbage container. For more tips on proper waste packaging, please visit DEH website at www.deh.gov.ky.
As parents and a community, it is our desire to have happy children who are able to cope with all of life's challenges. However, despite our loving support, sometimes our children suffer in silence and put on a brave face. Do you suspect that your child is experiencing problems, secretly struggling to cope, and is overwhelmed? If there is a possibility that they are anxious, experiencing troubling thoughts, and are suffering in silence, it is important to seek professional help. The Ministry of Community Affairs, in partnership with the Alex Panton Foundation, is hosting 5 community presentations on self-harm prevention this month and in September. These free talks cover how to spot the warning signs and who to turn to for expert advice. A question and answer will follow each talk. To get more information on the dates and venues of these presentations, please call 244-2426 or visit the Cayman Islands government website today.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Good afternoon. Welcome back to Talk Today. We invite you to be a part of our discussion. Some open line until we hit up to our headline news at 2. 949-8037. Of course, you can call us toll free at 1-800-534-8255. You can WhatsApp 925-3261. I want you to record those numbers so that you can use them to call us here on Talk Today. Certainly call us, in the mornings for our talk shows. Join me, Start Corner for the record. As you heard him share today, he's going to be out for a couple of days. The man works hard. He needs a few days off sometimes to be able to catch his breath and go. So Mr. Donnerbush could be filling in for him for a bit. Important for us as a people to know without question that we can have unfettered and equal access to the airwaves that are owned, for and by our people. So Radio Cayman definitely is here as a strongest community station. I was just doing a break and tried to place a call through to someone who sent a message speaking about the issue of what's in the media now, an approach, an offer. Some have sort of prefaced that by saying an unsolicited offer for the shares of Cayman National, anywhere between half and 3/4, I think it was. And the fellow said, there are those of us who have shares, and the shares at one time were twice what they were now. Now they're down there, and you bought the shares because you're trying to diversify your portfolio. You're hopefully capitalizing on the returns, get your dividends. Maybe the shares would appreciate, and at some point in time, you'll be able to sell them and make a windfall. It's no different than for those who play the stock market. You buy, shares in a unit trust. Maybe you buy shares in other publicly traded companies across the globe. Perhaps you may just look at the exchanges in North America. Maybe you're playing the other exchanges as well. And you buy and you sell, and hopefully you make some money. And that's be part of your intent to make your portfolio that much stronger, your financial position that much better. But he said, since this news sort of came out, he found many of his fellow shareholders and others in the community who don't have shares seem to be taking a counter view that, wait a minute now, what? You're going to come in and shares are going to be sold, someone else going to buy the place. And if it is that you own one share and it's $1 and then you can now sell that share and get $2, why is that a bad thing? Why is it that people are talking about, will there be job losses? Will people now no longer have a local bank? It's going to be owned by... I need to look around. How many other banks in Cayman are owned by locals? How many other businesses, from law firms to accounting firms to retail to other things, are really owned by locals? Are we talking about people investing and wanting to make money? Now, I deliberately did not ask any particular question, didn't weigh in, partly because of time constraints, partly because I wanted him to share his thoughts. But how do you feel about it? What sort of side of the equation do you find yourself? Is it that you're thinking, no, that should be one of those things that is in the national interest, so it should be owned and controlled and domiciled here with its headquarters here, and not subject to takeover by A, B, or C? Or are you in a phase saying, no, listen, this is business, Now, I did, in another sort of similar conversation with someone else who sort of in passing say, oh, by the way, you hear this thing is happening. Didn't sound like he was a great sort of proponent of it happening. But I did say to him, well, you had a company, you used to sell lead pencils, and you sold your lead pencil company. And you said, I made, big windfall. So what's the difference? What side of the fence is it even important? Now, one of the guys who sort of was in the camp that it's important to look after certain things from a national perspective. It's been referencing that in the international media, a number of companies, including those in Germany, including some in the US and the like, the governments have been saying, well, we're not sure from a national security perspective that these companies should be sold to foreign ownership. Perhaps the proprietary technology, perhaps because of the type of industry and the particular business. Now, is that the same with financial services? Do we have anything here? If, by extension, you conclude that a corporate entity, a financial institution, is one that falls in that category, what about companies like water and telephone, electricity, and some others? What about the issue of other banks or financial institutions? What about ownership of hotels or other businesses within the hospitality sector? Or what about those within the water sports? Maybe there are those who have said, well, perhaps the government, in order to ensure that local entrepreneurs have an opportunity, they may have been appropriate to ensure that these businesses can only be owned and operated by the citizens of the country, and not have some large investor or conglomerate or the like own these businesses. Now, you might share, well, it's a capitalist society, so you can't have these kind of policies. They don't work. They run counter to that sort of market economy. Well, what is your view? 949-8037 or toll free with the compliments of Flo at 1-800-534-8255, or you can send us your WhatsApp at 925-3261. We were excited to have been able to have hopefully imminently had another option for you to enter our discussions by another means, but maybe that soon come is not soon enough. Let's hit the phones, and good afternoon and welcome. You're on Talk Today.
Afternoon for the second time, Dwayne.
Afternoon for the second time again, sir.
I hear you talking about that Cayman National Bank. That was one of the things I forgot to write down.
Okay, well, glad you were able to be reminded of it.
Because I'm listening to your open mic. Sometimes I don't listen to some of the shows.
Okay, well, you listen when you can and want to.
You like honesty, right?
Oh, I like honesty like I like oxygen. I think it's imperative.
Like you like oxygen?
Yeah.
Oh, you better love that.
No, seriously, man. I got a friend who says, I'm brutally honest, and it makes it easier for me. Be honest is the best policy.
Anyway, what I want to say, I said don't sell out the bank.
Mm-hmm.
Cayman National Bank, stay as you are, keep going. Don't sell it out. That's my feeling. I have the right to voice my opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm saying. Keep it, Cayman National Bank, not Tom, Dick, or Harry Country Bank, National Bank. We have enough foreign banks now. Keep Cayman National Bank, even if you got foreign shareholders in it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Keep it that way. That's how I feel about it.
Well, I certainly appreciate you sharing that, But what do you say to that individual? Because it is a publicly traded company. People own shares, and I'm not going to try to say, well, this one owns 1,000, this one owns 10,000 by any means. But for that person who has shares, and just for argument's sake, let's say the share is worth, $5 and they're going to get $10 a share. So they'll double their money, or maybe they're going to get a 50% increase in their shares. End of the day, they're making, in their minds, a significant, windfall relative to the sale price of their shares. If that person wants to sell, how do you say no? You can't sell.
Who said it won't get 12, 15 the next year?
Okay, so you're saying, hang on, because they might be worth more down the road.
That's right, and it's called Cayman National Bank. It's not this, that, or that, what you call it, bank. It's all the place called Cayman National Bank. Keep it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't sell out. Can't sell out the whole country. When I say, oh no, I mean the government. The Cayman Islands selling out.
Mm-hmm.
Keep the bank, Cayman National Bank. I hope every one of you had one up and listening to me. Don't sell out the company. Don't sell no shares and hold on to it on a might. Just get a good dividend later.
Okay, well, certainly it is something that potentially could create some interesting discussion both publicly and privately. But maybe just a sign of the times. There are probably not that many local-owned businesses left. Perhaps it may be that next go around it could be the sale of something else, and people may have a similar sentiment. I don't know. It's interesting to see.
Yes, it's interesting to hear too.
It is indeed, sir. It is indeed.
Yeah, well, I just hope they're listening.
Yeah.
But I had the right just to say how I felt. That's all.
Okay. No, and I'm glad that you did so.
Because I love when I listen to this open mic thing, man. I love the show. Don't ever take it out here. I hope the government don't say this.
Well, you know what? I mean, tomorrow they may decide that a new host is in order and, send me up to, I don't know, somewhere else to work. You never can tell,
Because when you came back to have a stand up here so that you can have an open mic up here.
No. I mean, I hope they're not listening, but, if anybody sees that as being punishment to go over on the brag, wow, then that would be a reward. But I don't think I'll be that fortunate.
I really hope they try to do something to get something going up there, because this place is dying by the hour. I said it, Dwayne, not you.
Yes, sir.
Don't you trust the man, I said it.
So,
have a good day. Go on, I'll call you back now.
All right, well, we'll talk to you again when we talk to you. Take care, sir.
Thanks.
Okay. Now, before we hit the news break, let me quickly read this WhatsApp. It says, good afternoon. It says, I wonder what some of the founding stalwarts, would feel about this. Former chairmen like Mr. Tompkins and Mr. Benson. So it's, was the founding vision and ethos of CNB to always be the only Caymanian or Cayman Islands bank? Yeah, just a thought. Well, certainly appreciate that person taking time to put that together so that we could read it. Hey, let's pause. We got a news break to take, huh? And when we come back, more talk today.
Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman's newsroom. These are the biggest stories right now.
Cayman schools catered just under 8,000 students in 2017. According to the Compendium of Statistics issued by the Economics and Statistics Office, more than 4,600 students were registered in the 17 government schools and about 3,311 private schools across all three islands. The figures are consistent with previous years, within 100 students in both 2016 and 2015. Good afternoon, I'm Dion Anglin with your headlines and news elsewhere. A trick used by viruses to make us sick, stealth spheres, has been discovered by scientists. It had been thought viruses were all lone wolves, each on a solo campaign of infection. Instead, they can form packs of up to 40 viruses and surround themselves with a fatty sphere that makes them invisible to our body's defenses. The team at the U.S. National Institutes of Health say their findings rewrite the textbooks of infection. The wife of the Syrian president, Bashar al-Assad, has been diagnosed with breast cancer. Officials confirmed today that Mrs. Assad was receiving treatment for an early-stage malignant tumor. Born and raised in London, the Syrian First Lady has been a highly controversial figure. And Thailand has granted citizenship to the coach and 3 members of a football team dramatically rescued from a flooded cave last month. During their ordeal, it emerged that the boys and their coach were among around 480,000 stateless people living in the Southeast Asian country. It prompted calls to fast-track their citizenship applications. That's a wrap of your headlines. I'm Dion Anglin.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands. What's happening in your community? News and information, music and more. You can find us. www.radiocayman.gov.ky. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. Radio Cayman is your choice, your voice for today's biggest news. Radio Cayman.
Talk today. But I do have some questions.
Talk today. Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. Talk today. Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. And as promised from the RCIPS, a chance to share with us about an ongoing recruitment drive. I would almost want to joke and say, yeah, they're looking, for some people to go help them up back or southeast. No, just kidding. Police media officer Jody Ampera joins us. Hey, listen.
Good afternoon, everyone.
If we can't laugh on a Wednesday, when can we laugh? Of course, I see that on Tuesday or Thursday.
It's probably the best time to laugh because, you feel like you are halfway through the week, so
yeah, man.
You can ease up a little bit.
No, I think sometimes, and I'm conscious of it, and maybe I do even more so. People see you with a smile, they think you're jovial, they think you don't have any care or concern in the world, right? But think about it. Our biologists share that it's like a third of the muscles to smile and it takes to do that other thing. I say we should smile, much easier.
Yeah, and you know what? Funny enough, I was talking to Chief Inspector Harlan Power yesterday, and he said, boy, today, if you don't laugh about some of the things that happen in this world, you'll be depressed every day. Yeah, so, you kind of have to take it easy and have some fun.
As much as some of us sin, we should be in church every day, but, those frequent or infrequent times that we do attend, sometimes the pastor will say something that you remember, and one time, the pastor, in all things, give thanks. If you can't, embrace it, just pray that you can endure it, so that you, at the very least, appreciate, what life is and
Absolutely.
The blessings and the joy with a sense of gratitude and thanksgiving. You look at life and you say, well, thank
Absolutely.
you, God.
Yeah,
so that's me, and if people fault me for it, hey,
yeah,
I've been called worse. But I not only admire your dedication, commitment, your passion, enthusiasm for, your policing work, but the competence, your commitment, and the willingness that you here to share and encourage others. Hey, listen, being part of the ICIPS, wearing that uniform, there are worse things to do.
Somebody's got to do it, and right now we need some people to do it, so we've got to find them.
So we're looking for a few good people, right?
Yes,
right, tell
absolutely.
us about it.
Well, the recruitment drive, this is actually the last week for it. There is 2.5 more days left. The deadline for applications is the 10th of August by midnight, so applications have to be in by midnight on Friday night. Please do send in your applications timely manner, because the cap will be at that time, which means that if you send in an application at 12:01, it's going to go towards the next recruitment batch.
Okay. Now, you shared last time is for those 18 to 40?
Yes, that's the age range.
Okay.
You must be between 18 and 40. And I must stress as well that the last recruit batch did not have any women, and we are desperately in need of some more women who are interested in becoming police officers.
So, Caymanians, permanent residents, legal, anybody?
Right. Yeah. So right now we're looking for Caymanians and permanent residents with the right to work without restrictions. Caymanians is per the immigration law. And so, yeah, anyone but any Caymanian or person with PR without restrictions to work between the age of 18 and 40 with no criminal convictions and who have a relatively average educational background. You must have at least 3 CXC passes, with 2 of those being math and English. Okay. So it's not too bad.
You get trained,
yeah. And we are a developing service, and we definitely do try to send all our officers on as much training and development programs as we possibly can, so that they can grow within the service and move up our ranks.
Okay. I was thinking the last time you were here, and I said no, but I would come back and ask you. I know you had shared respectfully that the cutoff was at midnight on the 10th. So once it kicks over to 12 or whatever it is, it becomes the 11th. It's too late. You roll over into the next recruitment drive.
Because we have an open recruitment process throughout the year. And so we're accepting applications all throughout the year. But for this particular recruit batch, where the cutoff is the 10th of August.
And because the age was 18 to 40, I was thinking, hey, what if that person, right, is 40 plus? Not yet 41 technically, but 40 in months. Or do they have to be...
No, as long as you're not 41 as yet, then we'll accept
So if your birthday is on the 11th, I was going to have some fun and say, let's be technical here now and split hairs.
And I'm very happy that you've asked me that question, because for all those youngsters out there who are interested, if you will be 17 before we start our next recruit class, which is probably at the end of September into October, then we will also accept your application.
17 or 18?
If you're going to be 18,
okay.
sorry, by the end of September into October, then we will accept you as well.
Yeah, you did share that, and we are indeed speaking with Mr. Liampur, one of the police officers with RCIPS and the police media officer, right?
Yeah.
I was going to make sure I remember that. You do such a fantastic job.
Thank you.
With sending out information to us. You did share that if that student now, that young person is still in school, high school, UCCI, wants to be a police officer, but not yet 18, but is going to be graduating some more than 18 is not that far away. Hey, you can still think about joining the ranks now.
Yes, absolutely. Go ahead. I'm not going to sugarcoat it or anything, because this job is not for everyone. But if you definitely have that drive to make a difference in your community, and you have certain skill set that would be useful towards our service, then I definitely think that this is a career that you should consider. Yeah. And there's no harm in considering it, and there's no harm in trying.
Exactly. Well, what they say, nothing beats a try but a failure, right? If you nothing mentioned, nothing gained. And I look at my perception of police officer. This person is a social worker. This person is a psychologist,
absolutely.
A mediator, an investigator.
Yep.
This person has to keep the peace. Sometimes has to be, that sort of coach. And I mean, the skill set of a police officer or a teacher or a nurse. Those are not just a physician. I say nurses specifically, right? Those people are, to me, to attract some of the best and the brightest within your society because of the roles that they have to undertake constantly.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day is a learning experience. You will not go a single day without learning something.
And I think back to when I was in school. Yeah, dinosaurs were probably roaming the streets then. But I had friends who wanted to be police officers. That's what they wanted. They couldn't wait till they get old enough to apply. Some of them applied as soon as they could. And when I realized that how old they were then and how old we are now, let's put it this way: they put in the 33 and a third. They put in a long time.
Yeah,
they've been there, but that's what they wanted to do. They found their passion.
Certainly, we have officers who have been in our service and within our ranks for almost 40 years. There have been persons who have reached the retirement age and had decided to retire, and after doing that for about 2 months decided they can't do this anymore, and they came back.
And the fact is, if you join early, you can, and
absolutely,
you guys are the best people to share. But whether you want to be in an investigating arm, whether you want to pursue legal or accounting or financial qualifications, there are a lot of things that you can do.
Absolutely,
as you go up the ranks.
Absolutely, and I'll just go ahead and just list out some of the departments that we have. So, other than our patrol officers, we have a traffic department. Traffic departments not only are there to issue tickets, they also do accidents and accident reconstructions. And to be very honest with you, some of our accident reconstructionists have also been asked to go to other jurisdictions to lend their skills, and so this is a demanding skill. So we have the traffic department. We also have community policing, and three of our officers within the community policing have won the regional award for community police officers in years past. Within about 6 years, 3 of our officers have won the regional community policing award. And so that's also something that we're very proud of. And community policing is something that I'm pretty passionate about as well, because that was the first place that I worked when I became a police officer. I was 19 at the time. Giving away my age now.
I was going to say, shh. Your commissioner's like, shh.
I was 19 at the time when I started, and community policing was the first thing that I started, and that was in East End. That was quite an experience, but I learned a lot about not just the community and not just the people, but about how impactful policing is on the community. And then aside from that, we also have the Marine unit, which is quite popular in Cayman. All the kids want to be Marine officers. The only thing is that when you join the service, you do have to do patrol for a period of 2 years before you're able to go to any specialist departments, because that's where you'll get the fundamentals. And that period is still a learning experience. It's a part of the training program as well, because you'll never learn everything about policing in the classroom.
It's probably different from what you see on TV as well.
It is absolutely different from what you see on TV.
Yeah. Well, that's why I'm glad that you were here to join us, and hopefully, as it's the summer and as students and as parents start to think of careers. So, if I ever get accused of championing education, then I'll have to accept it, because it is absolutely imperative that our country ensure that its people, take up the mantle. And with your education, your skill sets, policing is one of those things where we have to have the very best that we can attract as well.
Absolutely. And I just want to say also that even though what we're asking for is for a minimum of 3 CXE passes, if you went to university and you have a degree in a specific area, I do still want to encourage those people to also apply, because we will always have a purpose for your educational background. We have a cybercrimes unit for all the computer science people. We have a financial crime department for all the people who did a financial degree, whether it be accounting or business or whatever the case may be. We also have a family support unit for people who have done social work degrees and want to do something within that area. And of course, we have our investigations and criminal investigations department and our task force, where anything that you do, whether it be communication or internal affairs or international affairs, then your degrees will have a purpose within our service.
Well, I certainly appreciate it. Now, we have a break to take, Ms. Julianne. I don't want to impose on your time, but I always enjoy. If you need the time, when we come back, you can share with us more?
I will stay.
Okay. I just want to make sure, because sometimes I'm thinking to myself, just because you're having fun talking to your guests, they might want to go get lunch or get back to do their paperwork.
Yeah,
so thank you so much for sharing with us. When we come back, who knows? That next batch of recruits might just include you or one of your siblings or one of your offspring. We'll tell you how to get there. So please stay tuned for Talk Today.
Did you hear that Vant Motors has your sale going on now? And you get your choice on the money you'll save on your new car or truck?
My sale? My choice? Really?
Yeah! And they have lots of cars on sale. Some up to $7,000 off.
Sounds pretty good.
It gets even better. You can choose to take the full discount, or you can get some or all of it as cash back.
Extra cash back would be great.
Exactly. And you can even use the savings to extend your warranty or service plan, so you'll drive worry-free for years longer.
Another good idea.
If you want to upgrade with something like a new roof rack or backup camera, you can choose that too.
Wow, I get to choose?
Yeah, that's why it's your sale, your choice. Going on now at Vant Motors on Walkers Road, while stocks last.
You flag.
What's new this Wednesday?
Glad you mentioned that. Nothing new, innit?
We are back with more Proud of Them Cayman honors.
And I make my mommy proud, and I make my daddy proud, and I make my family proud, and I make this nation proud. We will be proud, we will be proud.
More Proud of Them Cayman honorees.
Tune in for the exclusive on their lives leading up to being awarded. Stick around for another fun-filled roundtable.
You heard that right. Roundtable is back.
Tune in this Wednesday from 4 to 5 on Radio Cayman 89.9 FM. UFlex, a program for all people by young people.
UFlex, more than talk.
Water Authority Cayman's Survival Tip Saturday series is back. Throughout the 2018 hurricane season, the Water Authority will be posting helpful preparedness tips on our social media accounts every Saturday. Follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook to stay informed on how you can prevent damage and minimize danger in the event of a storm. Be prepared, be aware, be safe. This hurricane preparedness tip is brought to you by Water Authority Cayman, suppliers of the world's most popular drink.
89.9 Radio Cayman helps you to weather the storm during this hurricane season.
One of the most crucial elements of hurricane preparedness is storm awareness. During the season, it is of utmost importance to pay attention to the latest local weather forecast, as hurricanes do not suddenly form or strike. There are various methods of advanced notification. Utilizing such may be the difference between a favorable outcome and disaster. Both television and radio serve as excellent mediums with up-to-the-minute storm path information in the wake of a hurricane. Another method of tracking a hurricane may be only arm's length away. Your smartphone or tablet can be your most valuable tool before, during, and after a storm, providing countless numbers of apps with crucial hurricane information. Many apps allow you to track storms with moving radar and satellite imagery, plus offer alerts, current conditions, forecasts, advisories, and even video.
This hurricane preparedness tip was brought to you by your community radio station, Radio Cayman, 89.9 FM.
Talk today. But I do have some questions. Talk today.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program.
Talk today.
Because there are more questions than answers.
What the public is saying.
Waiting to take your calls right now. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks.
Hey, good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. Thanks for joining us, and thanks again to Jody Ampor, the police media officer, for joining us. And
thank you for having me.
Let me ask. Many of us would grow up wanting to be police officers. I still think that's part of the appeal, the uniform, the idea that you're out in the community. People know you. You have, I don't want to say influence, and people take it the wrong way, but you're expected to carry yourself a certain way.
Absolutely.
You have access to certain things. People defer to you because, there is this forward level of sort of expectation and respect and respectability. The flip side is, though, that you're in uniform, in a police car. I mean, two vehicles going on the road. The police car is going to be recognized. You're not going to know who's in it, but yep, it was a police officer in uniform in a police car.
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the big dump truck? What dump truck? It was not. It was. So you're always on duty. You always think.
Yeah, and that is one of the things that we do say, that a police officer is always on duty, because I would never be. I would never consider myself a good police officer if I was out in my civvies, which is what I have on now.
Civvies?
Yeah, that's what we call it.
That's
civilian clothes.
Okay. Yeah.
If I was out in my civvies and something was happening that I could assist with and I didn't help, you know what I mean? But as you get into it and as you progress as a police officer, you will tend to feel that way as well. You will get it, you would never see something happening that you don't try to help.
And there are so many of us in the community who have that sort of service-oriented lifestyle heart, and I think they would almost be, for them, it's a calling, whether it's police or nursing, teaching, and so on. But being a police officer, you can make a meaningful, almost immediate impact in your society.
Mm-hmm.
Please guide me if I'm not not the best example. But let's say for argument's sake, there is like we had a significant downpour, and for whatever reason, traffic is moving poorly because the street lights are not working, the stoplights are not working.
Mm-hmm.
A police officer, more than likely in uniform, would probably be more inclined to jump out with uniform and try to get traffic going safely.
Mm-hmm.
And if so, would be recognized and respected, even compared to that very notable upstanding, recognizable citizen who's in, the regular garb, whether it's tie and coat, whether it's a t-shirt and short pants.
I actually would not encourage any civilian to actually do that, because
there you go.
The thing about it is that our uniform is by itself. I guess you would say that it
connotates
it encourages people to give a level of respect and a level of attention. Whereas if you're in your suit and tie in the middle of the street, somebody's going to think you're crazy.
Even if you are doing something that everybody else says, glad someone did.
Yeah.
But that police officer in uniform
Yeah.
is going to be recognized, or respected, and be able to say, okay, hang on, car, just hang on a second.
You command a certain level of
respect, authority,
right, with the uniform. And so that being said, you then are able to direct people. Whereas if you're in your regular clothes like everybody else, it's going to be really difficult for you to do that. So I wouldn't encourage anybody to do that,
And thank you for that, because it's not about encouraging, just recognizing people that when you're in uniform, a police uniform, for those who are looking at a career and you have that inclination to add value to your society, to ensure that, this job you're doing, you're bringing your, what does it say, your A game,
And I think that one of the things that I guess people don't actually recognize or don't pay that much attention to is that police officers, the police is the only department that works directly with all the other departments in government. So we work really closely with immigration. We work really closely with customs. So we assist with immigration in terms of like illegals. And we assist customs when it comes to border patrols and as well as drug-related offenses. We work closely with the DOA when it comes to animals being out of control. And we also work with the DAH when it comes to our community officers definitely work closely with DAH when it comes to community beautification projects. And then we also work closely with the DOE when it comes to marine life. So,
I think as I listen to you, just, perhaps be mindful for those individuals who are now considering whether it's a career or a career change, between 18 and 40. As you said, Caymanians and permanent residents with the right to work without restrictions, you have until midnight on Friday, the 10th.
Absolutely. And if you are wondering what it's going to be like after you send in your application, well, the application form and the acceptance of your application is just one step in a 6-step process, whereas the second step is going to be the written test, and you will be required to do a multiple choice, and then you'll also be asked to do an essay. And the third will be the physical exam. And the fourth thing that you'll be asked to do is a computer skills test, which is something that we've just introduced, seeing a need for it, just to give us an idea of where your computer skills are at. And then you'll also, in that same time, be asked to go and do a structured interview. And once you've passed that process, and you'll have to then pass each of these processes to move on to the next one, then the fifth step is going to be your medical, and then the sixth is you being asked to become a recruit. So it's definitely it's a lengthy process, but it's something that is worthwhile, and it's to a good end.
And it all starts with that initial application.
Absolutely.
So to get that application in, or what is required in an application? I mean,
so we just ask that you answer all the questions really truthfully. You'll have to also, in your application, show that you have a valid driver's license. You will have to show that you show us your status in Cayman. So if you have Caymanian status, then you'll have to send it along, or a copy of your birth certificate, or if you have PR, then you'll have to send your PR letter as well.
I won't get into it just yet. I was just thinking of the recent discussions in the months past of people who were considered Caymanian, but not according to some quarters because they don't have a little piece of thing from the immigration. So.
Well, and that's why we said anyone who is Caymanian according to the immigration law.
Yeah, I'll leave that for you now.
That's who we're asking for.
Oh, Miss Judy, you know what? When you leave here, if your director, or mine says to me, "Just behave yourself." No, that's for another time. But honestly, we appreciate you sharing with us. And,
thank you. Thank you for having me as always.
No, thanks very much. And it's challenging the work that we do in our communities. I can imagine that it must be, especially for frontline staff like police officers who are always out and about, as we hold each other accountable, as we accept responsibility for our actions, as we try to constantly raise the bar. It makes it better for all of us. So those individuals who want to contribute, who feel that they, have the mettle, make the application and see where it takes them, right?
Absolutely. And I just want to say before we go again, if you have applied before and you did not get through, whether it was that you didn't pass the written or you didn't pass the physical, and you feel like you're at a place where you can probably attempt again and get through, then please, by all means, do apply again and go through the process again, and we will definitely have a look at your application again.
Awesome. Well, anytime that we can be of value, helping information, helping to inform or involve the public, please let us know.
Thank you.
And look forward to continuing discussions with you on any issue.
All right.
Okay, Police Media Officer Ms. Julianne Power, and yes, she is a police constable, even though she's in her civvies, as she said.
Yes.
You have a wonderful afternoon, Mom.
Thank you.
And to our listeners, thank you for sharing with us. Certainly come back tomorrow for more Talk Today, right after the midday news and midday meditation. And tomorrow morning is the buzz, right, my friend? So you can be a part of that. And of course, who knows what we'll have online. If nothing else, well, it's going to be good, we know for sure. Until then, be blessed.